Napoli remain your leaders over in Italy after another win this past weekend over in Serie A. But will they still be there this weekend after another set of matches? We're going to get into that and much more in match day number 9 next. That's right, folks, back once again with another production video. Today it's all about match day number 9, that's right, over in Italy, and we'll get to it in a second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button. One stop shop for Serie A is right here under one Ruski. Of course, hot off the press or hot up the top of the table, it is Napoli, it's Inter, and then Juventus and AC Milan currently in that top 4 spots. Going down, look at the likes of Venezia, Monza and Lecce. But will that still be the case at the end of this week's matches? We'll get into all of that and more in a second. If you're new, of course, smash your subscribe. Your one-stop shop for Serie A is right here under one Ruski. Now, before we take a little look at match day number 9, we're going to go turn the clocks back to this past weekend, match day number 8, and bring you back out to date with everything that's going on over in Italy's top flight. So here we go then, folks. Here we bloody go. Turn the clock back to this past weekend, and there were some good results for the big boys, but some upsets as well. As you look at the top of the table, Como did draw with Parma 1-1 in the end. I went with the 2-0 win myself. Genoa 2-2 in the end against Bologna. I did also go with the draw. AC Milan picking up a 1-0 win at Udinese. I did go with the victory that way. Meanwhile, Juventus also getting one over Lazio with a 1-0 win at home. Napoli, like I said, kept up the winning ways. 1-0 winners against Empoli. Fiorentina with a big 6-0 win this past week against Lecce. Atalanta also keeping up the heat with a 2-0 win over Venezia. Cagliari, big win over Torino in the end. 3-2, 5-goal thriller. And Internazionale beating Roma 1-0 in Rome to give themselves a big old boost. Now, I'm recording this early doors Monday. I'm going to be out on the boat very, very soon, within a couple of hours' time, in fact. So we're not going to be able to give you the result of the Verona and Monza game, which, of course, does affect the lower end of the table. But for all intents and purposes, we are good to go. So let's take a look at the current state of play in the table as you see it. Napoli are top of the charts by 2 points. Good right now, and Antonio Conte have got them working an absolute treat. Inter, Juve, Milan are in the mixer right there. Of course, like I said, Lecce, Monza, Venezia going down. Of course, the mid-table looks jam-packed, not much movement in amongst that right now, but of course, a win this week could see that all shake up and of course give us a new look table next time I see you, which will be probably back in deepest, darkest Georgia. Anyway, that's of course the table. We are not looking at the Super Brew because we're limited on time, and of course there is a game still to be played and the results are not up to date. So again, I'll bring you back up to date the next time you see me for Serie A predictions. So this is the link still, use that. Trying to keep the voice down also, people are still sleeping, but anyway, that's the link. But these are the next round of games, guys. They are coming at you thick and fast, and again, we are on a limited time and limited resources, so you're not going to get the flyover jobs like I usually give you. We're going to jump straight into the thick of things and take a little look at the next round of games. All right, then, folks, start at the top of the shop there. We've got Udinese up against Cagliari, of course, coming at you at the Stadio Friuli. Udinese under Kostja Renjic. The coach currently found themselves all the way down into 8th in the table. That's right, 50% form for them over the last 6. That's that 1-3 and lost 3 over that the last 6 matches. Up against Cagliari, who are looking good right now, 15th for the table, unbeaten the last 4 matches. 58% form for them right now. Now they've played 47 matches, these two sides, with 25 wins for the hosts, 12 wins for the visitors, and 10 draws as well. With the last match being over at Stadio Friuli, a 1-1 draw back in February 2024. Cagliari, though, of course, unbeaten against them over the last 3. And coming into this, Udinese did lose to AC Milan this past weekend. Cagliari picked up a big 3-2 win over Torino. Now we have basic odds for this game taking place on the 25th of October, with Udinese being the favourites for this one. But what about me? What do I think about this one then? Well, it is a tricky one to call. I don't know which way to go. It is all eyes on this as well on Friday, one of the only games in town. So I am leaning towards a stalemate, but going to give it to Udinese just because they're at home. Of course, I think Udinese's home form is better than Cagliari on the road. I did say they were the only game in town, but I lied. Torino are in action up against Como, also on Friday, the 25th of October, the Stadio Olimpico Grande Torino. Torino under Paolo Vanioli are in a bit of trouble right now. They are 9th. but they lost 4 games on the spin right now, looking grim, as of course they were early door leaders in the season. Como, though, and the Cesc Fabregas doing all right, 14 for the table, 50% form for them over the last 6. That's 1-2, lost 2, and drawn 2, of course. Now they played 4 times since 2003, 2 wins for Torino, 1 with Como, 1 draw between the two sides, with the last match being at Torino back in February 2004. That was in Serie B. Torino, of course, unbeaten against Como over the last 2. They've played at home, and they haven't even conceded a goal against them. However, they do come into this on the back of a 3-2 loss against Cagliari this weekend, with Como picking up an important 1-1 draw against Parma. The bookies, though, slightly go in favour of Torino, that being possibly because they're at home. Again, both the previous game and this game, the only games in town here, I think one of them will end up in a draw, and it might be this one, going with a 0-0 draw at the Grand Stadio Olimpico, of course, in Turin. Let's go to Saturday's games now, the 26th of October, and it's the table toppers. It is Napoli, that's right, under Antonio Conte, looking pretty hot to probably trot right now, top of the table, 19 points to name, 5 wins in the last 6 games, 92% form for them right now. Up against Lecce, 4 defeats on the spin, they're all the way down now to 18th of the table, of course, not looking good for Luca Gotti's boys. Now, they played 24 times since 1993, we've got 10 wins for Napoli, 5 for Lecce. There's been 9 draws between these two sides, with the most recent match at Napoli being one of those 9 draws. That's right, back in the 5th, May 2024. Napoli on the back of that 1-0 win over Empoli. That was on the road. Of course, the last 3 matches at home have all been victories for Napoli, scoring 10 goals in the last 3 games at home combined. Lecce shipping 6 goals last time. That was against Fiorentina, and they haven't scored in the last 4. Goodness gracious me. So trouble brews for Lecce, who are overwhelming underdogs. Napoli overwhelming favourites. There's only one way the points are going here, and that is a 3-0 win Napoli, all to the bank, and continue that dominance at the top of the table. Next up, it is the Battle of the Badges. Of course, it is Bologna up against AC Milan. Very similar badges when you focus in on it. They look identical, but we're not talking about the badges. We're talking about the form. That's right, coming out of the Renato Di Alia. It's Bologna under Vincenzo Italiano, 13th for the table, 9 points to the name, 50% form for them right now. Up against AC Milan, who are 4th with 14 points, and they've won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6. Now, they've played 48 times since 1996. 6 wins for the hosts, 31 wins for the visitors, and there's been 11 draws, of course, with the last match being at Milan, a 2-2 draw way back when these two sides last met in January 2024. The last they played in Bologna was a 2-0 win for AC Milan, who are unbeaten against their hosts in the last 6, picking up 3 wins and 3 draws. Bologna on the back of a 2-2 draw against Genoa. Milan picking up a 1-0 win over Udinese. Both are in action in Champions League. Bologna taking on Villa. AC Milan take on Bruges, with the odds for this game, of course, following on from the Champions League, going in favour of AC Milan. They are the favourites here, and I think they're going to get something out of this too. 2-1 winners on the road. Big win needed for the Milan side as they try to climb up the table. Next up, we go to the Guais Stadium. That's right, Atalanta under Gianni Gasparini up against Hellas Verona and Paolo Zanetti. That's right, played 30 times these two sides since 1997, with 15 wins for the host, 10 wins for Verona, and there's been 5 draws between the two sides. Atalanta winning 3 on the bounce. They're sitting in 6th right now, 13 points to their name, up against Verona, who have dripped all the way down to 12th right now, just 9 points of the season as well. Last time that these two sides played at this very venue, it was a 2-2 draw way back in April 2024. Atalanta are unbeaten against their opponents this weekend over the last 4 matches, picking up 3 wins and that 1 draw. Atalanta on the back of a 2-0 win against Venezia. They're in action against Celtic in the Champions League. Verona got a whole week to prepare for this one, coming into this on the back of a 2-1 loss to Verona. Of course, I think Venezia are in action tonight. So, that could have some sway on this game. Don't know about the odds. I've completely lost the odds on this one, but realistically, it's only going to be a winner here, and that'll be at home. 2-0 winners, Atalanta, taking all 3 points and continuing to move up the table. Next up, we go on to the 27th of October, which is Sunday, and it's Parma up against Empoli. They only do Tardini. Parma under Fabio Peccia right now, 16th of the table, 7 points to the name. Picked up 3 draws at the last 4 matches. Up against Empoli, of course, all the way up to 10th, doing all right now, but winless in the last 3. Now, they've played 25 times, these two sides, since 1997. 14 wins for Parma, 7 wins for Empoli. There's been 4 draws between the two sides. With the last match, competitive match at this very venue, was a 1-0 win for Parma back in September 2018. That was also in Serie A. Parma picking up a draw against Como this past week. It's actually been back-to-back away draws for Parma coming into this Empoli, though on the back of a 1-0 home loss to table toppers Napoli. The bookies for this one, they go with in favour of Parma, the hosts. I, on the other side, think it might be a draw here. Yep, smells like a draw. Can't separate two sides. Empoli on a crest of a wave right now in the top 10. And of course, they've been difficult to beat. And I think they'll get something out of this game, to be fair. Let's go to the capital now. It's Lazio up against Genoa. That's coming at you on Sunday, October the 27th, if it loads. Oh, what are you doing to me? We're going to go over there eventually as my tablet eventually loads. Stadio Olimpico, Marco Baroni's Lazio sitting in 7th in the table, 13 points to the name, up against Genoa and Alberto Galdino sitting in 17th right now, just 6 points for the season with Genoa. Now these two sides have played 39 times since 1993, 20 wins for the hosts, 13 wins for Genoa. There's been 6 draws between the two sides, with the most recent match being that at Genoa, 1-0 win for Lazio, of course. Now they played actually 3 times last season, the 23-24 season. Genoa winning one of them, Lazio winning the other. The only win for Genoa was when they were at this very venue in the league back in August 2023. They actually picked up a 1-0 win over Genoa. I'm just trying to do the math here. That's correct. Of course, Lazio on the back of that 1-0 loss to Juve. Genoa with that 2-2 draw against Bologna this past weekend. Lazio are in action, of course, in Europe, taking on FC Twente. And of course, Genoa got a whole week to prepare for this game. The bookies, though, they go with Lazio. Genoa don't stand a chance over in Rome. And I'm following that logic here. Going to go with a 2-0 win. Lazio, the form, everything seems to be going their way. And Genoa just won't have the quality to get anything this time in Rome. Next up, we got Monza. They're taking on Venezia. That's right, coming out to the 27th of October, coming out to the Stadio Briatano. Monza and Alessandro Nesta, they're in 19th right now, just 4 points for the season. Up against Venezia, who are all the way down there into 20th right now, 4 points for the season as well. Both sides looking for wins. They played 18 times since 1997, 5 wins for the hosts, 8 wins for the visitors. There's been 5 draws between the two sides. Last time they played, though, over in Monza, it was a 4-1 win for Venezia back in March 2021. That was in Serie B. Of course, what are we looking at here? So I think Monza, they're in action tonight, so we don't really know their form book. As for Venezia, they're coming into this on the back of a 2-0 loss to Atalanta. That's, in fact, I don't even know when their last victory was. However, the bookies' odds for this game, bearing in mind Monza taking on Verona tonight. Monza are actually favoured to win this game as it stands. They're the favourites for this one. I don't really know. I think they're very two similar sides right now. Two sides in a bit of a funk. I can't see them getting out of it, and they might even cancel each other out. So we're going to go on the fence here with a 1-1 draw. And that probably favours the visitors at this stage of the season. Then we go to one of the games of the weekend. Of course, is over. The Giuseppe Meazza Internazionale up against Juventus. Coming out on the 27th of October. Juventus are all the way up into 3rd in the table, unbeaten in the last 6 matches. They're on 83% form. However, the hosts, they're up there in 2nd right now, 17 points to the name, picking up 4 wins on the bounce. Now, these two sides have played 76 times since 1993. We have 19 wins for Inter, 33 wins for Juve, and there's been 24 draws between the two sides, with the last match being over at the Giuseppe Meazza back in February 2024, and it was a 1-0 win for Inter, who are unbeaten against Juventus over the last 4 matches, picking up a couple of wins and 2 draws as well. Inter on the back of a 1-0 win over Roma, big game that was. Juve picking up a 1-0 win over the other Rome team, that was Lazio this past weekend. With the odds coming at you right here, right now, it is Inter. They are favoured. Of course, both sides are in action in European competition. Inter taking on Young Boys, Juventus taking on Stuttgart. But like I said, Inter are favoured for this game. It's in Milan. It's going to be a tricky old game. I think it's going to be goals in it. 3 goals for me, 2 on winners, Inter taking the 3 points, and of course, opening up a gap between themselves and Juventus this weekend. And then finally, folks, we head over to Fiorentina, aka the Stadio Armentino Franchi. That's right, Fiorentina under Rafael Palladino. They find themselves all the way up to 5th right now. 13 points for the season, unbeaten in the last 5 matches. Up against Roma and Ivan Juric, who is under a lot of pressure by the hierarchy over in Rome. Of course, without a win now in the last 3. Now, these two sides have played 64 times since 1994. 13 wins for Fiorentina, 35 wins for Roma, 16 draws between the two sides, with the most recent match at this very venue being a 2-2 draw way back in March 2024. In fact, it was back-to-back draws, both home and away, last season, with Fiorentina winning last back in 2023, again at this very venue. Fiorentina on the back of that 6-0 win over Lecce. They've scored 10 goals in the last 3 games combined. Roma on the back of a 1-0 loss to Inter. They haven't picked up a win since they beat Venezia way back on the 26th of September. The bookies odds for this one, as both Fiorentina and Roma are in action this week in Europe. Fiorentina slight favourites, ever so slightly, on this one. Again, it's a different one to call. It's going to be a good one, good game, one of the big ones of the weekend. And I'm slightly going in favour of Fiorentina. Roma just, I think, are going for a bit of a crisis right now. They don't know what they are right now. And of course, De Rossi gone. Now Juric could be under pressure. Who bloody knows? So I'm going for the host here, 2-0 winners Fiorentina, which will be a big win for them this season. So that, my friends, completes my picks. Don't forget to get your own picks in as well. Using this, we'll be bang up to date with the Super Brew when I see you next. But right now, that just about does it. So don't forget to smash the like, smash your subscribe, smash the little bell, boys and girls. We'll be back for more Serie A action next week. But until then, we'll see you soon. Until then.